Hi folks, Six Slices here. Now I normally just do one knife in one video, and I'm doing two in this video, which have something very similar, but are actually literally miles and miles, thousands of miles apart. Polar opposites, almost, one could say. Now this is a little thing I picked up from Heine Haynes. It was one of these sort of ones that you throw in your basket when you've chosen something else. It's a little Japanese Kiridashi. It's a marking knife for a carpenter. It's a carpenter's tool, really, and it's basically just a very sharp little piece of steel that is used for marking wood. Now it has a chisel grind to it, so this side of the knife is perfectly flat. This side, all the grind work is done. And the reason for that is when you are marking a piece of wood, and if you're right-handed, these are very much a right-handed knife. It's for when you're putting the knife next to your ruler, you can see that it's absolutely touching the ruler, and therefore you get your mark very accurate. Doesn't work if you're left-handed, by the way, because the chisel grind's on the wrong side. But what I want to do is just do a wee compare and contrast with another Kiridashi, and this one comes in a nice little leather sheath. I will one day get a third one to make a real comparison, but this one is perhaps more traditional in style, of the Japanese style. This one is the one in the brass here is Japanese. This one is more in the style of the Japanese traditional Kiridashi, except that this one bears a stamp of M. May, Sheffield, England, Michael May. This wasn't actually made by Michael May, though, funnily enough. This was made by James. Now, James is his apprentice. And okay, this is a very simple thing, but if this is anything to go by, then James obviously knows what he's doing. I bought 3 knives from Michael, and each one comes with a little sheath of paper which says Michael May Knives, handmade in Sheffield. And there's no deceit here. He's not pretending to be anything that it's not. Each knife is crafted to the highest standard from carefully chosen materials. Since learning my craft, I feel responsibility to maintain the skills and artistry that made Sheffield famous. Michael May, your knife. Pattern, Kiridashi. Blade steel, 01. Handle material, 01. Date, 4/3/22, and it's signed by James. Now, as I say, this is very much in the Japanese Kiridashi style, and it's a lovely piece of tool steel that's been made into a knife. What's different to this one and the Japanese and this Japanese one is that the Michael May one is a sort of, what's that, 4 millimeters thick, 3 certainly, whereas this one is barely a millimeter thick. This is the Japanese style of knife generally. As I say, I just threw that one in the basket because I collect Japanese knives, and I think it was either $6.99 or $7.99, and so I threw it in. This one from Michael May sells for about £40. Japanese one off Amazon can be got for about 20 or maybe a little bit less. But how much of those are handmade, and who knows. This, as I say, is a perfect little carpenter's marking knife, and it comes, as I say, also with that fancy down leather sheath that I've now buried under pieces of paper. Comes with a nice little, see, handmade leather sheath to go with it. Am I a Japanese carpenter that's going to use this as a carpentry knife? No. More likely it's going to find its use in life as a desk knife, as this little brass one has for some time now. It's razor sharp. It's relatively easy to sharpen as well, because being a chisel edge, that's ideal if you're a carpenter that sharpens your chisels. It sharpens in exactly the same way. And of course you can strop it to keep it nice and polished, nice and sharp, and it's got a beautiful polished edge. And as I say, it's extremely sharp, a satin finish, and I just like it. It sort of complements my Japanese collection. It's not part of my Japanese collection because it's not Japanese, whereas this one is, but it does kind of complement it, and it does show you that craftsmanship is not dead. One of the things I particularly like about it is the fact that it is made by Michael's apprentice, and that does mean that there are people coming into the trade. I believe Lee White at Taylor's Eyewitness has also got 2 apprentices working for him. So hopefully, when these people, Lee and Michael, neither of them are old. They're working, and they'll be working for a long time yet. But it's nice to think that there will be more workers to take their places as time goes on. It is nice to see that there are artisans still making beautiful stuff in Sheffield, and hopefully there are generations still to come. I don't see Sheffield ever getting back to the sort of workshop of the world that it perhaps was in the 19th century, before America kind of took over. But I think there is there's a sort of tradition in things moving on. Somebody is preeminent, one area is preeminent for a while. They don't keep that preeminence forever unless they're very lucky. And generally that moves on to somewhere else. America is losing ground to China very rapidly at the moment. That's a fact of life, but there will still be a place in America for quality made knives, even if the high volume manufacture disappears over to China. Britain used to be the high volume producer of quality cutlery. Mainly we used to sell to, we sold to a lot of the empire, but we also sold to America. Now, the empire is doing it for itself. Pakistan and India make steel products, maybe not the highest of quality, but they do. China is really taking over. America took the British manufacture over around 1890 and following, when they put up very high tariffs on steel goods, and so a lot of British knife makers moved to America to ply their trade without having the tariff barrier in between, and did very well out of it. But there always remains, wherever a high quality cutlery manufacturer has been, there always remains an ability to produce high quality material, and there have been some real improvements in what's left behind. Britain tried to go down the mass market route in the 70s with the sort of shell-handled Richards knives, which has now become very collectible. But honestly, they weren't the best knives in the world. Arthur Wright went down a route of just trying to knock out traditional knives, but at rock-bottom prices and with rock-bottom quality. Now, I'm glad to say that the Harrison father and son, Michael and Ashley, have really tightened that up, and they're making British knives good again. Michael May, I show a Michael May knife, and there will be a series of comments down below telling you about the poor quality Michael May knife that you've picked up, or the poor quality Michael May knife that you heard that some mate of someone that you once knew once saw that had some major flaw in it. And unfortunately he has got himself a bit of a reputation there. I have now 8 Michael May knives. All are perfect. That's to say, he can do it. There is no doubt. Now, maybe because he knows it's me and because he knows it's going to go on YouTube, that he produces particularly good pieces of work. That may be true. I can't argue that point for or against, but I do know that and I can only speak as I find it. I have had 8 knives out of him, and the 8 knives I have had out of him have been as close to perfect as anything I've had from any other British knife maker. So, you know, read into that what you like, but that's what I know. I can only tell you what I've seen with my own eyes. So, anyway, I just wanted to show you these. I wanted to show them quickly. Now we're at 10 minutes. How that happened, I don't know. But these are 2 little Kiridashi carpenter's knives. One from Japan and one in a Japanese style from Sheffield. So if you like the stuff, please give it a thumbs up and make a comment if you like. Try not to be too hard on Michael May. And if you want to see more of these, then please subscribe and remember to ring the bell. Thank you very much. Goodbye.